Okay, welcome again to the class. And today we want to talk about two great things, great subject in the psychology of management and in the industrial psychology, and especially in business and management science. When we are talking about the management and the leadership, the first word is associated with our mind is gathering, is group, department, team. So at the nature of the management, at the nature of the leadership, the phrases group management, leadership, and also management and teamwork and other words like them are very popular. So we want to talk about, also we have talked about it before at the end part of the previous session last week, but now we want to talk about it so greater and more about the groups and leadership. We want to define groups and teams and identify and describe several types of each. Identify the 5 core group performance factors and relate them to groups and teams and organizations. Discuss the stages of group and team development, other team performance factor, and implementation process in the context of creating new teams, and identify the primary benefits and cost of team, how managers can promote effective team performance and important team competencies. And finally, describe emerging team opportunities and challenges related to virtual teams and diversity and multicultural teams. The last part is very touchable, very sensible these days because every work has gone to the virtual reality, to the internet, and everybody is working and earning money in that position and that situation. Okay, the nature of groups and teams. Anybody here to talk about it or not? Sean, do you have any view about the nature of groups and teams?
Nature about what?
Of groups and teams. Can you see my screen or not?
Yes, I can.
Okay, it's about the nature of groups and teams. Do you have any view about the nature? What is group? What is team? What is department? What is society, community? All are sometimes some different types of groups and teams. Also, we have talked about it in the previous session, but we want to review it again, okay?
Okay.
Do you have any view about the nature of groups and teams?
I think basically like groups and teams are like a gathering of people to come together to focus on one particular subject or to work together to reach a certain goal.
Mm-hmm. And everyone, how do you think about the nature of groups and teams?
I agree with the coming together for one goal.
How do you think? What are the basic concepts, not basic operation? What are the basic concepts for creating and developing a group or a team or a community or a society? But in this part, we will want to talk about the group and teams. How do you think about the nature of the groups and teams? What is the main core, main conceptual core of the group and team? Why we do create groups and teams?
To achieve goals quicker. Like if there's more people, then it's easier to achieve goals.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Goal achievement and performance, better performance, and we will talk about it, about the team dynamics. So group define 2 or more people who interact with one another such that each person influences and is influenced by each other person. We talked about it previous week. Team defined an interdependent group about these two people who share a common goal and accountability for outcomes. Every gathering with interaction, with influence at each other is a group. For example, you have a group dance. You go somewhere at the beach and see with a specific music, some people are dancing, but not dancing together. Every single dancing for himself or herself, but they are dancing with a specific music. It's group, dance group. But when there is a share goal, share meaning, common goal, and accountability, it is team. When you want to talk about the teamwork, there's several major differences between the teamwork and group work. When you say about the teamwork, when you're talking about the teamwork, you are talking about the share meaning, share goals for the future. It is systematic approach to the group. So if we want to talk about the teams in the terms of group, we can say teams are the same systematic group. What is system? Several components share together, interact together to achieve a share meaning, a share desire goal, a shared goal. So system has three parts, several components, interact together, and for a share meaning or share goal, common goal. Okay, thank you. Categorization with degree of formalization, formal groups, informal groups. When we want to talk about the formal groups has the limitations. But informal groups, it doesn't mean that they don't have any limitation, but it is not organizational. For example, Emir, Sean, and two other students gathering together to study hard and interact together. Is there any rules here? Yes, some rules. But it is not very, very, very hard rules. Okay, it is flexible because we are a group. It is an informal group. But if you go into, for example, organization, and they create an operational group with some rules, some targets, some methodology, and other things, it is a formal group. Work group, a formal group. When we are talking about the work, we are talking about the company, we are talking about the institutes, we are talking about organizations. Work group, a formal group established by the organization to do its work. For example, a study group, industrial group, a statistical group, and quality control group, and project management group, and other things. Or maybe leadership group. Types of work groups, because it's a business, command group, affinity group. Command groups, relatively permanent group with functional reporting relationships, usually included in organizational chart. You can see a command group, a group which they are following a specific command at the top of their direction. An affinity group, relatively permanent collection of employees in the same hierarchical level who meet regularly to share information and solve problems. Functional team. Gradually, we are entering the concept of team, which is very different with a group. We are a functional team. We can be non-functional team. We can be dysfunctional team. And functional members come from the same department or functional area. For example, we want to have a good and functional team for calculating the tax. If you want to calculate your tax or your organizational tax, it is not related, for example, to your engineers, to your staffs, for your sales department. It is related to your accounting department. So from the same department or functional area. But cross-functional team, if you want to have a team for working on how can reduce the tax by, for example, says other things for by NGOs and other things, it is cross-functional from different functional areas, from different functional groups. You create a team to achieve a goal from different aspects, from different dimensions, and from different functional areas. It is cross-functional team. Members come from different departments or functional areas. Can increase creativity. The major technique here for a cross-functional team is brainstorming. Is everybody here to know about the brainstorming or brainstorm? What's brainstorm? Taylor, are you there? Sean?
Yeah, I'm here.
Do you know anything about the brainstorming? What is brainstorming?
Basically, like to think of the idea.
Uh-huh. What is the concept of storming in the phrase brainstorming or brainstorm?
I'd say
Storm is indication of what?
Well, brainstorm, I would say like just the think of like you're given an answer and just to think of the possibilities and what different ways you could come up with a solution.
Mm-hmm. Taylor, are you there or not?
Yes.
Taylor, how do you think about the phrase brainstorm?
Brainstorm is like, the storm is like a cloud full of ideas on a certain, what you want to do,
Mm-hmm.
certain set of solutions you want to solve. So it's just like a big cloud of ideas.
Big cloud. Sometimes the storming, thank you for cooperation with me. Sometimes storming in the phrase of brainstorm or brainstorming is indicator of everything associated with the subject you want as a team member, you want to think about it, everything associated in your mind, you will express it in the team with no limit, with no structure, anything. It is a storm, brainstorm. Everything associated in your mind. Honestly, it is mindstorm, not brainstorm, but usually it is called brainstorm or brainstorming. It's a very, very, very good technique for team members to creativity. Why? Because no limit, no structure, and can increase also creativity. Can solve problems more quickly. Why? Because of the cross-functional team, why they can solve problem more quickly and also more effectively, because it is multidimensional, it is cross-functional, different functions, different attitude, different dimensions, or we are looking at the problem and want to solve the problem. So creativity and quickly. These are the major elements, major components of cross-functional teams. And problem-solving team, established to solve a problem and improve work. You see, 3 different teams: functional team, cross-functional team, and problem-solving team. When you are talking about the functional team or cross-functional team, you are talking about the functions to improve performance, organizational performance, individual performance, group functions, and other things. But when you are talking about the problem-solving team, you want to solve a problem or a collection of problems, a complexity of problems, different problems, but you want to solve a problem. Thank you. Self-directed team, other words used for categorization of team, sets and pursues own goals. Why? Because team members responsible for managerial tasks such as scheduling and evaluation. Oh, when you are talking, when you are thinking about the self-directed team, there's a paradox here. Why? Because at the nature of team, groups, departments, organizations, even in society, in community, even in religion, in races, in ethnicities. When you're thinking and managing a gathering of people or gathering of information even, for example, sometimes in culture, you don't have any great culture, but you have a good source of information. It is information culture. Yes, it is the culture about the data, about the information. In all of these, one important thing is that management. So management and guiding and counseling and leadership and coaching and mentorship are always used for a team. Now it's a paradoxical problem here, paradoxical concept here. You say self-directed team. If a team can be directed by itself, by the members, why you call them team? Because of shared meaning, because of shared goal. Interaction, it is no external pressure on the team to set the direction for the team, to set the goals for the team, to set the schedule for a team, and evaluation and assessment and gathering information. It is done and set by default by the team members, not by an external force, for example, like a management, like a leadership, like a mentorship, like a government, no external. This is the first difference. The second, sometimes in an organization, I, as a manager, create a self-directed team. I say 1, 2, 3, 4, Emir, Sean, Taylor, Viviana. You are a team. You want to gain a specific goal. You should do some specific functions and other things. But it is not related to me as a leader, as a manager, to set the schedules for you, daily schedules, to evaluate daily evaluation. It is not related to me. Something I want you as a self-directed team to do this function, and after that, give me a final report. From this point to that point, it is not related to me to evaluate you, to assess you, and to schedule your time and other things. It's related to you, not to me. It is self-directed team. Can improve commitment, quality, and efficiency. Commitment is very, very important in self-directed team. Why? Because there's no external pressure, no external supervision, no external monitoring. You should have commitment to your job, to your task, to your function. Quality, it is very, why quality? Because it is internal quality control and efficiency. But venture team, what is venture team? Operates semi-autonomously to create and develop new products, processes, and businesses. Semi-autonomous. So one part is self-directed, one part is by the organizational management. Separating team from the firm's formal structure can enhance innovation, speed up cycle time. It is half and half. Half by the team members, half by the organizational management. Half by the team members, half by the external pressure or external factors. But the virtual team. We are now virtual team. Coronavirus has guided us to do everything in virtual reality, in virtual space, in cyberspace. But we are doing something important. We are just now at the class. We are educating, teaching and learning. And especially, I think, honestly, in the space of education, in atmosphere of education, uh, especially in US, I think that there is no change because a lot of courses, a lot of valid courses in America are online courses. So a lot of students, a lot of instructors are very intimate with online atmosphere. But for example, for this class, which was on campus, yes, you are experiencing online courses. Virtual team, now in the modern world, in the previous 10 years, are very, very, very important. Why? Reduces the cost of space and time. You are employee, but you don't need any space. Why? It is virtual team. You are at your home and doing a lot of things. I love it. Digital marketing, virtual works. I love it. Why? At first, it is very flexible. Not at the time. At the instructions, at the departments, at the teams, at the management, it's very flexible. You are at your home and you are making money. And after that, you are earning money. The different part, making money and earning money. You are effective. And finally, you can do something important for your organization or only for your own business. I think the great jump in virtual teams, in digital marketing, is Amazon. Amazon created a culture to be familiar with the internet for doing your business. A great jump. Before that, okay, everybody used internet for not everything, for special uses, for specific uses. But Amazon slowly created a very good culture of going to internet, buy everything you need, and receive it so safe, so secure, so comfortable. Feel comfortable about digital marketing. And you as the future managers should be very, very familiar with the virtual teams. Geographical dispersed, global team, as members from different countries. For example, now I'm in Irvine. One campus in San Diego. Your campus is Montebello. And I'm here from one country, but geographical dispersed. But sometimes in DBA course I'm in CalMU, CMU, we have some students from out of America, from Middle East, from North Africa, and other parts. Okay, it's a global team, yeah. Can be virtual or meet face-to-face. Friendship group. We are entering the subject of informal groups. It's friendship group. Relatively permanent. Draws benefits from social relationship among its members. And one thing is friendship group that is very important. Friendship, and after that relationship, and after that sometimes partnership, different part of socially acceptable groups. There are some groups that the group member can change some feelings, some attitudes, some not necessarily share attitude, not the same attitude, different attitudes. But the atmosphere of friendship group is it has a very good roots of social interaction and social share meanings, share goals. It's friendship. Society, ethnicity, races, sometimes cities, and for example, geographical similarities and differences are the basis of friendship group. But sometimes you are not socially interacted together, but you have the same and the shared interest. For example, I have in my country an interest group about positive psychology. From different, it is virtual group and it is interest group. Why? Everybody in that group, one of his or her major interests are positive psychology. Is it necessary to be psychologist, for example, for being a member of interest group or positive psychology? No, 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 no. It is not professional. When you're talking about professional group, you are talking about the experts. You are talking about the people who have a lot of good knowledge and valid knowledge about a specific topic. For example, psychology or positive psychology or management or business or everything. But when you are talking about interest group, it is not necessary to be professional in that interest topic. Your interest group. We are a group to talk, to think, to study, and to interact together. For example, in yoga group, in meditation group, it's an interest group. People from different parts of different aspects, different areas of functioning, of expertization and professions come, but they have one shared first topic, yoga, organized around a common activity or interest, relatively temporary. Yes, when it is finished, about talking or acting about our interests, okay, after that, that session of group or sometimes that group is over. Well, one of the major things you should know about the groups are performance. In coaching, we have a type of very, very famous type of coaching. It is high performance coaching. Sean, can you help me to define the meaning of performance? What is the difference between performance and act?
I'd say the difference between performance and act.
Action, performance, implementation. These are very near together, but our preferable word for organizations and also for people is performance. We don't say, for example, optimal action, optimal behaviors. We say optimal performance. What's the difference between performance and action and behavior and some related? There is a main difference. There is a major cutoff point different from performance and other related words. Do you have any view about it? Or other people, Amir and Taylor?
I would say that well, acting, you're like going over the role of a play or like a performance or like a play, and then performance is like you're performing with your own skills, I would say.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Taylor, how do you think about it?
I just think performance sounds a little bit more professional.
Your sound is not so good, Taylor.
I
Come
said, I
near
think
to your
I
microphone.
think performance just sounds a little bit more professional
Aha.
than the other words. So and when you talking professional, like you can't really talk about somebody's behavior without them taking it the wrong way. But you
That's
can talk
good.
about somebody's performance and like they won't like take it the wrong way. Like there's a difference when you say like, oh yeah, you have a bad behavior versus you saying, oh yeah, you just perform bad. Like, because I guess when you perform a certain way, it can be fixed, it can be modified, adjusted. But like behavior is something like it can't maybe.
Performance, as you said, and Sean says, that it is very skillful. The basic and the basis of performance are the skills. So if we want to define the performance at this side, at this view of behaviors and view of actions, if we want to define the performance, we can say performance is a very professional action, very professional behavior. Performance is so goal-directed. It is perform. When you talk about work, job, career, action, behaviors, at the professional view, because you are becoming a professional at your field. For example, after gaining your bachelor degree, you will be professional at business or management. You should know, and also you should think something more than knowledge, something more than reading and studying. You should think about these details, about the differences, for example, between job, career, work, or other parts, action, behaviors, and performance. The words have a lot of meaning loud. What does it mean? It means that when you are thinking, you are talking to yourself. It is approved in psychology. When you are thinking, you are talking to yourself. In this view about thinking is sentences in the mind. So the words have a very, very important pressure on your thinking methodology. So go back to the topic, group performance factors. What are the factors that affecting group performance? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Composition, size of group, informal leadership, it is very important, norms and values and standards of the group, the cohesiveness. Okay, group composition, the degree of similarity or difference among group members, on factors important to group work. The degree of similarity or difference among group members on factors important to groups' work. Homogeneity and heterogeneity. I talked about it, I think, previous session, that these prefixes, homo and hetero, they are indicated to the word of similarity and difference. For example, homosex and heterosex, homogene and heterogene, the same or the different. Hetero is for different. When you say heterosex, somebody, for example, I am heterosex. Why? It has become the attractive people are for the different sexuality, not the same sexuality. But the same sex, it is, for example, homosex. Homogeneity and heterogeneity, it is degree to which members are similar in one or several ways that are critical to the group works. But heterogeneity, degree which are differ in one or more ways that are critical to the group's work. So when you want to organize a group, to create a group, it is not good always that, for example, all the member groups are similar together. Similarity and differences here are the cutting line for your decision making. Why? Because it is related to the group desirable function. What type of function do you want from this group as a production, as a result? For example, if you want to have a creative group, similarity is not so good. Why? You want to have some creativity. Creativity is the result of brainstorming in different aspects, not the same aspect, not the same angle. Okay? But if you want to have a professional group on subjective and specific subject, you should have homogeneity. Everybody in this group should have a minimum functional eligibility for doing something. So we cannot say always homogeneity or heterogeneity is a group, good for a group or not. Why? It is related to the desired group functions you want to have in the future from your groups. It is related to the group productivity, desired productivity. Group composition, homogeneous groups are more productive, homogeneous when task is simple, is sequential, requires cooperation or requires quick action. Heterogeneous groups are more productive when the task is complex, requires collective effort, demands creativity, and emphasizes thoroughness over speed. We talk about it. The number of members in the group, as the title talk to us, it is group size. Affects resources available to perform the task. Affects degree of formalization of interactions, communication, and participation. And affect degree of formalization of interactions, communication, and participation. Okay, the number of members in the group affects resources available to perform the task and affects degree of formalization of interactions, communication, and participation. Is the mathematical choice for calculating the group size? Honestly, we have some formulas and some calculating procedures to calculate the group size. We have some formulas in the management and all this business. And also in psychology, for example, group therapy is one of the greatest therapeutic techniques in psychotherapy. But it is not calculating procedure. These are some predictions of the functions that you desire to have in this group as a group member, and also group as a live being. It is group dynamic. When you talk about the group dynamic is the synergic, not energetic. It is the synergic part of group. What does it mean? It means that when you work together, your total production is something more than summation of each of you. For example, I have a production of 2 units, you 2 units, and for example, Emir 2 units, Taylor 2 units, and we are 4 here. Summation of 4, 2 is 8, but synergy says because of the working together, a little more you will receive. It is synergy. 2, 2, 2, 2 is not the 8. For example, it is 8.2. That 0.2 is synergic effect of working together. This is the major and basic part of the group organization, group creation, group forming, and group shaping. Haneke's the degree of social loafing, and factors that determine ideal group size. Group members' ability to interact and influence. Think about the words very, very, very carefully. We are talking about the interaction, not action. Interaction, act together. One part, second part. One part, at least second part. Sometimes one part and different parts. It is interaction. And maturity of the group tasks. Group tasks also is very old concept in management, in business, and also in group dynamics and psychology. What maturity of group is the level of understanding, deep understanding of the group about their tasks about the role of interaction and about the role of socially acceptable behaviors in a group. Ability of the group leader to deal with communication, conflict, and task activities. At first, you should know that we have two types of conflict, two major types of conflict. Conflict with yourself and conflict with others. Other parts is conflict with the meaning of life. It is not conflict for a manager, for example. At the basic levels of management, it is not necessary to go, for example, about the meaning of the life or meaning of the work. Also, I think if something doesn't have any meaning for you, or doesn't have a very fresh and very young meaning for you. Young meaning is the meaning of the to be a good feeling about it. It's called in psychology, it is called young meaning. It is not immature. Young has been very good. It has a lot of inspiration and motivation derived from that meaning for you. Okay, two parts is interpersonal and intrapersonal. Interpersonal conflicts are the conflict with you, with yourself. Interpersonal is conflict from you with other people. And I think at the master degree, at the course of MBA, you have a very good course, so-called negotiation process and conflict management, conflict resolution. You will learn in that course that how to manage and how to think about the conflict, conceptualization of conflict. Group norms, everything in a group, in a society, in a community, we have some norms. I have a question. What is the difference between norms and standards? Can you answer me? What is the difference between norms and standards? Amir, are you there or not? Sean?
Yeah, I saw him here. What was the question again?
What is the difference between norms and standards? Is there any difference or not? Do you think is there any difference between norms and standards? The standards against which the appropriateness of the behavior. Basically, what are the difference between norms and standards?
Well, all I know, what is norms though? Like normal?
Yeah.
Okay, so like, I'd say normal.
Norms are not honestly normal. Norms are the standards to maintain a level and predefined behavior in a community, in a group. By the norms, norms is something like laws, but they are not determined by, for example, legal people, legal departments. Norms are something that are determined by a society and can be changed. Norms are changed always. But what are the difference between, very specific difference between norms and standards? Do you know about it?
I would say like standards is basically like what is given to you, and norms I would say already set. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah, that's relatively correct. As you see in the definition of norms, the keyword of the norms are appropriateness. When something is norm, it is appropriate. Appropriate to what? Appropriate to general common, general judgment, general common sense. All the people, all the group members, these are the norms. Determine behavior expected in a certain situations. So norms are sometimes of orders, sometimes of protocols for doing something, result from personality characteristic of members, the situation, the historical traditions of the group, vocal or background of the group, and are enforced only for actions that are important to group members. It is like family. If in a family you have a lot of norms, you have a lot of must and must not orders for babies, for children, for wives, for husbands, and other family members, if you have a lot of norms, it is very difficult to live in that family. Why? Because it is not very friendly. They are not intimate together. So in their hard situations, they will be separated. Why? Because they cannot feel good about talking together, about working together. So norms important to group members only for the actions which are important. Which action is important for me as a group member? It is determined by the group dynamics, by the group interactions. Purposes of norm help the group survive. It's like society. Simplify and increase predictability of expected behaviors of group members. Predictability. Norms give you a prediction of the future. Help the group to avoid embarrassing situation. Norms will give you to avoid embarrassing situation. Express the group's central values, core values, main cores for membership identification and identify the group to others. Every group will be identified by others and will identify to others by its norms. For example, if this group is a military group, if this group an educational group, is this group a scientific group, is this group an action group, the norms are different. And by these norms, other people outside the group can identify what is the purpose of this group. Group cohesiveness, the extent to which a group is committed to staying together. If the group members are not committed to staying together, for example, it can be something like a family. Okay, that's not. Okay. Result from forces acting on the members, attraction to the group, resistance to leaving the group. It is very important. Why? Sometimes in some groups that they are relatively permanent groups, like a team, and more important than that, like a family. Family is a group. But when wife and husband, couples are alone, like it's a group. After parenting, then during parenting, you have a future-oriented goal. What is that? Your parenting, your child, the future of your child. It's a shared goal for the wives and husbands, for the parents. So a lot of people, when they are not happy in their family, they have a great resistance to leave the group. Why? They are thinking about their children. They are thinking about the effects of, for example, divorce or separation on their children. So now we are talking about the organization. Is it a family organization? Absolutely, it is an organization. And resistant to leaving the groups, one of the actions that send the group and move the group to the group cohesiveness. Motivation to remain a member of the group. And we have the focuses, the factors that increase and decrease cohesiveness. Factors that increase cohesiveness, consequences of high cohesiveness, factors that decrease cohesiveness, and consequences of low cohesiveness. What are the factors that increase cohesiveness? Homogeneous composition, mature development, relatively small size, frequent interactions, clear goals like competition or external threat, and finally success. Factors that increase cohesiveness. But consequences of this increase of high cohesiveness is goal accomplishment, personal satisfaction of members, increased quantity and quality of interactions, and groupthink. But what are the factors that decrease cohesiveness? When you say homogeneous composition as a factor for increasing cohesiveness, and the other side, in the opposition side, it is heterogeneous composition. And recent formation, the group is very young. And large size, it is not group, it is regularly getting and gradually getting a society, a community. It is something more than a very specific group. It is large size group. And physical dispersion and ambiguous goals, it is not, goals are very, very important for defining and shaping a group. Why? Goals, share meaning, are the basic part of the group. If you don't have any goals, yes, it is something a little less than a group. What is called, this is called gathering. It is not group. Gathering with the goals become group. With the interaction for the goals become team. With the interaction of the members in an organization, it become department. And several different department interaction will become an organization. This is a hierarchy, a meaningful hierarchy, meaningful differences between gathering, group, team, department, and organization. It's a hierarchy. Gathering is only gathering. Goal, added goal, it is group. Added interaction, it is team. Added share goal and interaction, it is department. Added share goal and interaction, again, in the large size, it is organization. And failure. If the group doesn't have any good outcome, why? What is cohesiveness? It is out of order. And also difficulty in achieving goals, increased likelihood of disbanding, fewer interactions, individual orientation, and lower commitment to group goals. Group cohesiveness, goals, and productivity. You can see a very good chart here. Charts are always very good for science. Why? By the charts, by the graphs, we can transfer a lot of concepts, a lot of knowledge, quantitative or qualitative, to you. Only with a figure, with a chart, with a graph. Now you see here in one dimension group cohesiveness, and in other dimension it is organizational productivity and the relativeness, the relationship between group goals congruent with organization goals and group not congruent with organization goals. Why we are here as the groups? For achievement, the goals of an organization. So if you are doing something which is not congruent with your organization, with your major organization, major department, why are you here as the group members? It's not a group, it's an oppositional group. You are destroying the future of organization, the future of family, the future of society, the future of community. Why? It's not congruent. Congruency in everything is a very major, vital component. When you have congruency, you can guarantee the vitality, the maintenance of the group, the life of the group, when it is congruent. If it is not congruent, sorry, it will be destroyed as soon as possible. Informal leaders, I love it. It's a very, very enlightening phrase for the managers because everybody is talking about the formal leaders, but in different levels of leadership, you see that there are some informal leaders, hidden leaders. And I love to ask that, I love to call them silent leaders. Because when you talk about the silent anger or silent disease, it is very important. Silent disease that, for example, kidney disease or silent disease. When you know that your kidney has problem, okay, it is gone out of your order. It doesn't work for you. Because why? Because kidney is very, very, very powerful organ in body. And when it doesn't work, it is dead. It is silent disease, silent anger. And here, informal leaders, hidden leaders, or as I want to call them, silent leaders. What are informal leaders or silent? Engage in leadership activity without a formally recognized right. I asked them, sorry, who are you? They said, I'm with you. I said, yes, I know, thank you. But who are you? So I want to help you. It is informal leader. And a lot of charismatic people have an effect of informal leadership on their society. Charismatic people are very important in a society, in a community, in a family, in a group, in an organization. It is very important. A lot of informal leaders are charismatic people. The people that they govern people not by their only expert. They are not always expert. They are not always professional. They are leaders of emotions. They are leaders of hearts. So they are charismatic. They are governors of your heart, of your mind, not necessarily by logic, not necessarily by reasoning, because of their character. We will talk about the charismatic people very, very in details in leadership course. Often drew from referent to expert power or expert power can be a tremendous asset when working in the firm's best interest. Your silent leaders, your hidden leaders, your informal leaders are your assets. If you can work with them in the frame of your company, frame of your organization, can cause major disruption. Wow. Major disruption. Stage of group development. Is there anybody here to ask any question or not? No question? Okay. Have a break for 5 minutes, and after that I will be here again.